Audio check one. All right, well, good evening. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I believe it's 8 o'clock, and this presentation should take about 20 to 25 minutes for me to go through what I typically go through. I'm going to do things a little different this time. If you've joined me for one of these Hangouts in the past, I'm going to try to, in addition to text messaging, I'm going to try and monitor the live chat that YouTube allows. This will be my first time kind of experimenting with it. So you're welcome to interact with me, ask questions in either way. Hopefully the live chat on YouTube will work. If it seems like I'm not responding through that and you're trying that method, then try the text messaging and just alert me to the fact that it's not going through. But we do layer technology here in order to be able to provide this type of information in a easily digestible format. So YouTube does allow for people to view this type of thing on just about any type of screen or device, which is why we use it. We layer in the text messaging in the past because I personally haven't been able to get the chat function to work on the computer in which I'm presenting, and I'm now trying to add another device here to see if it'll work. But we do layer the text messaging. I use a free text app, so that telephone number that you see at the bottom of the screen, it will appear on every slide after this, but that telephone number is not an actual voice number. It's only a texting number that works through the app. So if you have actual questions that you want to speak with somebody, I'm going to give you some information a little bit later about how to get in touch with us by phone if you need to. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Chad Royal, by the way. I'm an associate professor in the counselor education program at NCCU. I've been with the program since 1999, so I've been around just a little while. In terms of the university, it's been around much longer. First established in 1910. We are a member of the University of North Carolina system, the 17 campus system. We're located in Durham, which is right in the middle of North Carolina, hence the name North Carolina Central. We are part of the Triangle. Now, in terms of our program, our program was initially started in 1952. It is a program within the Department of Allied Professions, which is a unit in the School of Education at NCCU. We have 3 accredited programs within our program: career counseling, clinical mental health counseling, and school counseling. I do need to update this slide because all 3 of our tracks are now available as online programs. So what is this CACREP thing, this accreditation? What does that mean? Stands for the Council for the Accreditation of Counseling and Related Educational Programs. They're kind of the gold standard when it comes to accreditation of counseling programs. From their website, this is just an excerpt from their site. This type of accreditation provides a recognition that the content and the quality of the program has been evaluated and meets the standards that have been set. So as a student, as a consumer, can be assured that appropriate knowledge and skill areas are included and that the program is stable professionally and financially. So theoretically, you could go to any CACREP accredited program and be assured that you're getting appropriate standards met from one program to another. In summary, what it will mean for you is that you will be going to a program that has been accredited, certified as a quality program, that we are meeting the needs of a counseling student. It will be a legitimate degree, so that by the time you graduate, you could likely apply for certification or licensure, depending on what track you're pursuing, but you would not have to complete any additional coursework that some other programs that would call themselves a counseling program would require. The graduates from accredited program, a CACREP accredited program, are able to take the licensure exam, the national counselor exam, the semester in which they graduate, this prior to graduating. So this can have implications on your certification or state licensure. You're able to become provisionally licensed upon graduation. Now, our program is also IRSEP approved, and we're also, the university as a whole is accredited by SACS, the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, and the School of Education in particular is accredited by NCATE, which is now known as CAPE. And I do not know what those acronyms really stand for, but it really only applies to our school counseling program. They're educational accreditation entities. Some other highlights of our program. Last February 2016, we became what is known as a Criteria C program. recognized by the NC Substance Abuse Professional Practice Board. So with an additional 3 to 4 courses, a student can easily pursue becoming a licensed clinical addiction specialist. This is a credential that has much more portability than just about any other counseling credential, in my opinion. When you become a licensed professional counselor, an LPC, it's usually state by state. So if you go to our program and you apply for licensure in North Carolina, you get licensed, then you decide to move to Virginia. Well, you're going to have to apply for licensure in Virginia as well. Now, the LCAS, or the LCAS, is something that is portable in, I believe, 40 plus states. So once you have that credential, you can easily work in different states. In October of 2015, we were selected as the most outstanding master's level counselor education program by the Southern Association of Counselor Education and Supervision. This is a regional organization that's an affiliate of the American Counseling Association. Our program was highlighted for our extensive use of technology, our commitment to social and cultural diversity, and the development of the nation's first online career counseling program that was accredited by CACREP. In 2015 and 2016, 11 of our students have received fellowships from the National Board for Certified Counselors Foundation, more than any other institution in the country. We had several more selected in 2017. I just haven't updated this slide. So again, we're leading the country in NBCC fellows. These fellows receive anywhere from $5,000 to $11,000 for use in school or whatever other needs they might have. Our online career counseling program is the only one of its kind anywhere. Our own campus career counseling program is one of only 9 in the U.S. Mentioned before, we have 3 programs of study: the career counseling, school counseling, and mental health counseling. All can be done 100% online now. The career counseling program is currently 48 hours. School counseling is 51. Clinical mental health counseling is 60. There are 3 phases that are common to each of our tracks, each of our programs of study. Everybody starts in phase 1, where you receive a lot of foundational courses. These courses are typically common across all 3 programs. So for a good portion of your coursework, that beginning coursework, you're going to be in classes with all the other counseling majors. Not every class, but a good majority. Everybody starts at that first level. You're getting a foundation. Then we move on into phase 2, which is a little more skills based. The courses are perhaps a little more specific to your field or your program of study, or they could be just simply more hands-on. And then we move you into phase 3, which is actual placement in the field. So by the time you graduate, you will have had first a 100-hour practicum in one semester, and then 600-hour internship after that. So you graduate with 700 hours of actual clinical experience. We do have 9 faculty members. All of us have doctorates in counselor education. We have a very diverse range of research interests, and we do provide regular opportunities to publish and present over the year with our students. From here, I move on into some typical questions that I receive. And as I've mentioned before, if you have any questions or you need me to address something, feel free to either use that text chat, the live chat in YouTube, or text me to 919-295-9796. So first question, how long will it take? Well, roughly 2 to 3 years, depending on the program. You saw that one is 48 hours, one is 60. But this does assume you're going to school full-time and taking summer classes. So full-time study as a graduate student is 9 hours or 3 classes. And you're also taking 3 classes over the summer. So 3 in the fall, 3 in the spring, 3 in the summer. You can be out in roughly 2 to 3 years. There are multiple classes offered online, on-campus classes. These are for the students that are not online students, but those classes are held in the evenings, one night per week for 2.5 hours. It is difficult to work full-time once you enter phase 3 of the program because you're in that clinical placement. How much will it cost? Well, what I would really recommend that you do is go to our tuition and fees page at the university level on the university's webpage and take a look at the current tuition and fees. That will give you the most accurate, most up-to-date information. But a few years ago, I did pull some information which shouldn't be too far off from what it currently is. It's not going up that much over this period of time. But NC resident, if you're taking 9 to 12 hours per semester full-time, you can expect to pay somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 for one semester of study. Again, this depends on the number of hours and whether you're taking online or on campus, online student or on campus student. And some on-campus students can still take online classes. Online classes tend to be just slightly cheaper because they don't tack on other fees. Now, a non-state in North Carolina state resident would pay somewhere between $7,000 and $10,000 for a semester of study. Some other typical questions. Do we require a specific undergraduate degree? No. We have students in our program from all different backgrounds. You just have to have an undergraduate degree completed before we would consider admission. Do you have any specific undergraduate GPA requirements? We don't really have a hard and fast line of what you need to have, but what we do say is that the more competitive applicants will have a 2.7 GPA or higher. Is there a minimum GRE score requirement? No, we don't have a minimum GRE score requirement, but we do require that every applicant have completed the GRE in the last 5 years. How long will it take for me to find out about an enrollment decision? Well, our next due date for applications is October 1st, I believe. That will be for a spring admission. And you would expect to hear something, if October 1st is the deadline, you would expect to hear something mid-November. Will I have to write a thesis? No, a thesis is not required as part of our program. It is an option. If you'd like to complete that, you can. It does add to your program of study, however. Is financial assistance available or assistantships? We don't have set scholarships or fellowships as part of our program, and really the university I don't think does that. You do have to go through the Office of Financial Aid. You complete your FAFSA application for financial aid, and that would qualify you for various things, whether it be student loans or grants, things like that. What I typically recommend is that if you're really looking to have scholarships or other types of fellowships, like I mentioned before, that our students have received, those are things that you have to kind of apply for yourself. These are not things that you're just kind of given money. You have to apply for it and apply to multiple places. It's not one application and done. You have to submit your information to those organizations for them to consider you, and it is competitive. Now, assistantships is something different, and we do have multiple assistantships on campus. This is where you're working for some type of stipend on campus. You are expected to complete some type of job as a graduate assistant. So it's available, and for those that are interested in it, we try to accommodate you as best as possible. Now, in terms of applying, you can access an application from our website. Hopefully you've looked at it already, nccuCounseling.com. You click on Future Students. You're able to access it there through a system called Apply Yourself. You will need to submit copies of transcripts, letters of recommendation, GRE scores, and a written statement. If you have specific questions related to the programs, we have contact people that you would want to direct your questions to. If you have general questions about the program, Dr. Peggy Whiting is our program coordinator. You can see her email address here, but you can also find her email address and her telephone number on the website. Susan Wasick is our career counseling program coordinator. Dr. Jenny Barrow is our school counseling program coordinator, and Dr. Gwen Newsom is our clinical mental health counseling program coordinator. Again, you can direct your questions to them. I will look at the questions I've gotten so far and address those in just 1 second. I think this is my last slide. I would ask you to, if you haven't already, again, check out our website. We try to be as transparent as possible with some of the information for prospective applicants as well as current students, so you can really get a good feel for what we're all about, what we do, what we offer through the website and through various social media. If you're into that type of thing, you can like us, follow any of these types of accounts. So that was my last slide, and let me switch over to the texting app because it looks like I got a couple of questions. So I got 2 questions here. One is a question that says, "So do you have spring enrollment? Your program is not in a cohort." No, we don't really follow a cohort model. You would find that you're in classes with a lot of the same people from semester to semester, but we found that, I guess, over time, we've really catered more towards a working student. And not everybody kind of follows in the same path. So some people will go full-time, some people will take 2 classes. And so that, puts people at different places, and you have to kind of follow the different phases, which could put you out of sequence with somebody else. That's why we're not really in a cohort model. And another question from that same person: is there a way to be in the school counseling program but also take classes for career counseling? You can. We have some information on the website about what it means to dual major. So I'll give you a brief description, but the full information is on the website, so I would direct you to that. But you would want to apply to the program that is your primary interest. So if school counseling is your primary interest, apply to the school program. And if admitted, in your very first meeting with your advisor, you would mention to them that I want to double major, or just take classes if that's what you'd rather do in career counseling. And they would work with you to make sure that you're meeting all the requirements for your school degree, and if you're going to double major, what you would need for the career degree as well. The career degree is probably the easiest to add on to because it's essentially 1 extra class and 1 extra 300-hour internship. So it's very doable to add a career, a second master's degree is really what it is. You actually graduate with 2 degrees. So another question, got 2 questions, it looks like, from this person. It says, "Hi, is spring admission allowed for each of the 3 counseling programs?" It is. I think I've kind of addressed that already, and it's something that has changed over time. So I do want to give that disclaimer that sometimes we have really added the spring admission in the last, let's say, 2 to 3 years, and we have done it every year after that. When I first started at the university, we did routinely admit every semester, and for a period of time we stopped doing that. We were admitting just once a year, but yes, we do admit in the spring, and most likely for all 3 programs. But I do want to go ahead and say up front that I am I am not the department chair. I'm not the dean of the School of Education. I'm not the dean of the graduate school. And so things could certainly change. So don't hold me to that. But in the most recent couple of years, we have admitted in the spring for all 3 programs. So the next question from that person, in terms of the hours of clinical experience in phase 3 of the program, how many hours are there a week, and is there a certain time of day? Well, we do allow you to split. We're going to talk, let's talk about internship, because, well, let me just back up and say, I'm going to confuse you if I do this. So practicum is what you start with, and that's 100 hours. And you have to do that in 1 semester. We do ask that you spread that out over the entire semester. So 100 hours over 15, 16-week semester, you're going to be there for about 8 to 10 hours a week. You get to negotiate when you do that. You might say, I'm going to be there on Fridays all day, or I might be there half day for 2 days, or 2 hours, 4 days a week. It's up to you and your site about what you want to do. So you do that with practicum. Then you're able, once you finish practicum, you're able to take what's called internship, and it's a 600-hour placement. We do allow you to do that in 1 semester or 2 semesters. If you do it in 1 semester, 600 hours over a 15, 16-week semester is going to be 40 hours a week. If you split it up over 2 semesters, you're looking at 20 hours a week. So it's up to you to determine how you're going to do that, and that's really why I said it's difficult to work your whatever job you might currently have and complete the internship at the same time, because if you're doing it in that 1 semester, you are interning 40 hours a week. It's like a 40-hour-a-week job, and you have to get all those 600 hours in, or you don't finish internship. So you have to devote some time to it. Again, you can negotiate with your site when that is done. We want you to pick a site that is in direct alignment with what your career goal is. So if your goal is to be a school counselor in an elementary school, then you should complete your practicum and internship in that area. At least your internship in an elementary school, so that by the time you graduate and you go out looking for jobs, if you're not hired by your internship site, then you're able to say, I have experience in the specific area that I am looking for employment. The same is true for a mental health or career placement. If you're wanting to be if you want to work in a hospital, then by all means seek your internship there. If you're wanting to work in a university career center, seek your internship there. So I think that pretty much answers that question. And that same person just sent another one in. Does the internship consist of supervised counseling, and can it be online counseling? It is supervised counseling. Out of that 600 hours, 40% of that needs to be direct service to a client or clients. It really wouldn't be just one client, I should say clients. So 40% is 240 hours needs to be direct service to clients, and you are supervised by someone on site who is a professional counselor, and you're also supervised on campus. So you get lots of supervision. For the online programs, we do complete that using video conferencing software. Now, online counseling is something that's a little separate, and that does, and this is just my own opinion here, but that does require specialized training. There is an actual credential aligned with online counseling. It's called a distance credentialed counselor, or DCC. And that's not really something that we want to prepare you for initially. We want to make sure that you are getting this face-to-face experience first. So if you were to want to complete an online counseling internship, we would probably decline that request. We have not really had anybody that has requested that at this point. That's why I'm saying we probably would decline it. And I'm I feel confident in kind of going ahead and saying that and speaking for everybody on faculty that it's not something that we would really be interested in doing at this point. But we certainly would encourage you to, once you graduate, to seek out that additional training and that additional credential so that you can be a distance credentialed counselor, DCC. And if you're interested in finding out more about that training, I would suggest you check out the National Board for Certified Counselors, nbcc.org, and you should be able to find some information there about that particular training and credential. Another question, how many students do you have applying and then accept? Well, it depends on each semester. So every semester we have different numbers of people applying and we accept different numbers of people. And this comes back to the accreditation that I mentioned before, CACREP. They require us to have a certain faculty to student ratio, and we keep it at capacity, maximum capacity. In fact, when CACREP came last time in 2013, we had too many students and we got another faculty position as a result. So we have to have a certain number of students per faculty member, so we can only admit the number that we graduate. Now we do graduate people every semester, but that number varies, that we don't have a same number graduate every semester for the same reason we don't have that cohort model. People go through the program at different times. So in general, I'm not able to give really specific numbers. I think if you're looking at how many have applied, I would say last spring when we were looking at applications for fall admission, oh gosh, we had I want to say over 100 applicants, but I don't remember exactly how many it was. And then we accepted, I believe, 30, 35 maybe, but I'm kind of guessing here. It definitely wasn't more than that. So that is not the same every semester. In some spring admission cycles, we've accepted only just a handful based on how many we were able to accommodate during that time. But it's true, in my opinion, of any graduate program in that those numbers will vary about who's able to be admitted. I think whatever numbers might be quoted by a program, they're really estimating about how many they're going to take, and because they will have the same ratio, faculty to student ratio that we have, and it's really they're just trying to give you a general idea, a ballpark of kind of what to expect. But it's always your application is competing only against the people that are applying in that given semester. Sometimes it's more competitive than others. Another question, when was the spring deadline for the mental health program? When was the spring deadline? Okay, so you were thinking about perhaps starting this fall. The deadline was February 1st to get your application in. And that's the dates that the university sets for us. We interview every applicant that is going to be a potential solid applicant, so it's very time consuming. These are individual interviews that at least 2 faculty members will meet with each strong applicant, and it takes us, as I mentioned before, about 6 weeks to notify people, review applications, interview, and then notify people. And then we want to get them in for an orientation, because registration happens either right after spring break or right after fall break, depending on the semester. So we want to get people in and get them registered. So if you were thinking about for the fall, that deadline passed quite a few months ago. You are able to take classes as a special student, depending on class availability, if there are openings, and that can at least give you a feel for our program if that's what you're interested in. And the classes would certainly count towards your degree if you're admitted. Next question. Internship is, I think you said 240 hours of client counseling out of the 600 hours. What are the hours that are not counseling? We call those indirect hours. So it's going to be paperwork, staff meetings, paperwork again, more paperwork. There's always notes and charting, things that have to be completed. As school counselors have to do, cafeteria duty, sitting on IEP meetings, all types of things that take up a lot of the time. So that we call the remaining 60% indirect hours, and it really could be anything that you would do in your job, as part of your job when you're not seeing clients. Next question. Do you allow non-degree students you then later apply and get accepted into the program? I think it was a question I just alluded to, that you can take classes as a special student, which is a non-degree seeking student. Take classes. You can take up to 9 hours, I believe, 3 classes, and have those transfer into the program. So if you get admitted, you still have to apply. It gives you a chance to look at us. It gives us a chance to look at you. And if you are admitted through that regular application process, then yes, those classes, as long as they would be on your plan of study, then they would count towards your degree. I think I have worked through at this point all the questions, so I'm going to go ahead and disconnect. You're welcome to continue to text me questions as you think of them. I'll just respond in a text response. I do appreciate your time and attention this evening, and we do hope to perhaps speak with you later and see your application. Thanks very much.